Some people pig out at sporting events, and some people pig out as a sporting event. It's called competitive eating. And some may argue that it's not a sport. But if we define an athlete as someone who trains his or her body to do amazing things, then by that definition, competitive eaters are athletes.
Nowadays, guys like Kobayashi and Joey Chestnut have brought the world of competitive eating into the spotlight with their epic chow downs.
2, 1, go!
But more and more competitive eaters are popping up to inhale ridiculous mountains of food. So how do these guys do it? And can we set a new world record right here in the lab? If we're gonna eat our way into the record books, we need someone at the top of their game. So we brought in one of the sport's premier chow hounds, Furious Pete Zirinsky. Pete burst onto the competitive eating scene in 2007 when he broke eating's equivalent of the 4-minute mile by inhaling a 72-ounce steak in 7 minutes.
Right now, I hold 7 world records in competitive eating. I did 18 bananas in 2 minutes. I did 10 half-pound burgers in 6 minutes. I did 14 beef patties in 3 minutes and 14 seconds.
But there's one record that Pete's most proud of. A world record that no one has come close to breaking.
I did 43 2-ounce meatballs in 7 minutes.
And that's the record Pete wants to break now. That's right, to beat his own world record. Pete's going to attempt to devour 50 meatballs in 7 minutes.
So competitive eating is one of the newest sports on the block. What do you say to the naysayers who claim, it's not a sport?
They have to realize it's a very physically and mentally demanding sport. You really have to push yourself to the limit for this sport.
Each meatball weighs 2 ounces and measures 2.5 inches across. To get perspective on what over 6 pounds of meat does to a stomach, we constructed a one-of-a-kind anthropomorphic dummy.
What we want to show here is how much space 50 meatballs would take up in your stomach.
So, can the human body even stomach 50 meatballs?
This is only like 18 meatballs in. This is disgusting.
The real danger is gastric rupture.
When a normal person tries to eat, say, a Thanksgiving dinner, that stomach can dilate a little bit, but it's really limited in how much it can actually dilate before the nausea reflex kicks in and you feel satiated and don't want any more.
This is how much space 43 meatballs would take up in your stomach. This is the current world record that Pete holds. Clearly, when you eat this much food, your stomach rearranges the other organs in your body.
It's possible to cram in so much food that the stomach tissue can actually tear, releasing food, stomach acid, bile, and bacteria into the body cavity. And that can be fatal.
Oh, that was literally on the 50th meatball. The breaking point is 50.
The question is, can Pete break the record? Or could 50 meatballs break Pete? We've got the medic standing by just in case.
How are you getting yourself psyched up?
Just mentally telling myself that I can do this.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna measure your waist before. We're gonna have you eat all the meatballs, and we're gonna measure your waist after. Let's measure this. All right, so the before measurement is 34 and a half. All right, so the magic number is 43. You have water standing by. We have our medic. We have an official timer. Everything is in place for an official world record.
Yep.
I'm gonna stand back and I'm gonna let you do your thing.
Just need a countdown.
3, 2, 1, go! First row is complete in 45 seconds.
Pete's on a record-setting pace, devouring 16 meatballs in 2 minutes. That's the equivalent of putting away 11 hamburgers. So what's all this meat doing to Pete's insides? As the stomach expands, a normal person will feel full and even sick after downing only about 30 ounces of food. But competitive eaters like Pete can take in 6 times that amount because they've trained their stomachs to expand by drinking massive amounts of water.
When I'm training, I'll consume up to 15 liters of water right before a contest just to increase my stomach and increase capacity.
Keep going.
5 minutes in, and Pete slowed down. To break his record, he's going to have to eat 15 more meatballs in under 2 minutes.
Keep going, you got it.
But with less than a minute to go, Pete's in trouble.
35 meatballs, this makes 36. You got 45 seconds left. Uh-oh, 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 35 meatballs.
Sorry, guys.
You started off like a rocket.
Yeah.
I mean, you had over 20 meatballs down, way over 20 meatballs down in the first couple minutes. How do you feel right now physically?
Physically, I'm tired and basically just bloated right now. You can see my stomach, it's definitely a lot bigger than it was.
It's one thing to let your belt out a notch after a big meal. But in 7 minutes, Pete's diameter increased dramatically.
We were at 34.5 before, and we're at 40 inches. You gained 5.5 inches. So 35 meatballs equates to 5.5 inches.
Pete consumed almost 9,000 calories in 7 minutes. If you had enough water, you could survive on that amount of food for over 2 months. But why couldn't Pete break his own meatball eating record? In a word, gas.
I finished the first 20 meatballs. I think I finished them in under 3 minutes. After that, I just felt like there was too much gas building up in my body and I couldn't get rid of it.
Eaters like Pete take down a lot of air in these contests. If they don't burp it out, that air eats up valuable real estate. Which is why this is probably the only sport in which a world record attempt can fall short due to burp failure.
Not my day, that's for sure. Very disappointed, but if I had some competition, I'd probably step it up a little.
If it's any consolation, Pete, you still hold the world record. Although you've kind of ruined meatballs for the rest of us.